Imagine this. You're a star NFL player, respected by thousands, and suddenly, a random fan hurls an insult your way. What would you do? Let's just say, Tyrone Crawford's response to this shocking moment left the world speechless. For those of you who may not know, Tyrone Crawford is a seasoned defensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. Known for his relentless work ethic, Crawford has earned his place as one of the top players in the NFL. His career has been built on dedication, leadership, and a fierce desire to succeed. But what happens when someone tests that composure? What happens when the unthinkable occurs and a fan insults him, challenging everything he stands for? What Tyrone did next shocked everyone. In today's video, we're going to break down the full story. You'll learn exactly what happened during this jaw-dropping moment, how Tyrone handled the situation like no one expected, and why his actions spoke louder than words ever could. Stick around till the end to find out how this incident became a defining moment in his career and why it's still talked about today. Welcome to Craze TV. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more incredible stories like this. Let's dive in. The incident took place at a fan meet and greet event held by the Dallas Cowboys, where players were scheduled to interact with fans, sign autographs, and take pictures. It was a typical sports event designed to bring athletes closer to their supporters, creating a lively atmosphere filled with excitement and admiration. The area was buzzing with energy, fans eagerly awaiting their turn to meet their heroes, and Crawford, always a fan favorite, was a central figure at this particular gathering. He was casually chatting with fans, posing for pictures, and signing memorabilia. It was a day meant to celebrate the connection between athletes and their followers. However, the mood shifted dramatically when a man in his mid-30s approached Crawford. This wasn't the usual enthusiastic fan, though. The man's body language was tense, and his demeanor was far from warm. As he reached the player, his facial expression was marked by frustration. He began by asking Crawford a question about his recent performance on the field, something that many fans likely asked. But as the conversation progressed, the tone became unmistakably hostile. The fan, growing more agitated, took a shot at Crawford's abilities, calling him overrated. He went on to accuse Crawford of being a backup player who only got playing time due to the reputation of the team rather than his own skills. The words were biting, attacking not just his performance, but his very role on the team. The fan then added that Crawford's time in the NFL was nearing its end, insinuating that his career was already on the decline. These were no ordinary, offhand comments from an irritated fan. They were sharp, personal insults designed to undermine Crawford's dedication, hard work, and his place in the league. The harshness of the fans' words didn't go unnoticed by the people around them. Several nearby fans turned their attention toward the exchange. Sensing the tension in the air, the crowd fell silent, unsure of how Crawford would react. Some looked at each other in disbelief, while others discreetly reached for their phones, likely anticipating an explosive reaction. The shock was palpable. Crawford, known for his professionalism and leadership, had rarely been the subject of such public criticism. Many people who had been admiring him moments before were now watching intently, waiting for his response to the insult. As the insult hung in the air, the crowd held its collective breath, wondering what Tyrone Crawford would do next. The words had clearly stung, but the way Crawford responded was nothing short of remarkable. Instead of reacting with anger or engaging in an argument with the fan, Crawford remained composed. His face showed no sign of visible irritation, and his posture was calm, even relaxed. He didn't raise his voice or throw insults back at the fan. In fact, it was almost as if he hadn't heard the harsh words at all. He stood there, taking a moment to process the situation while the crowd waited for his next move. What happened next surprised everyone. Instead of getting defensive or making a snide remark in retaliation, Crawford took the high road. He addressed the fan with a level-headed response that was as thoughtful as it was unexpected. With a deep breath, he calmly said, "I appreciate your opinion, but I'm focused on being the best I can be every day. I don't let negativity or people who don't know me affect my game. His words were measured and dignified, carrying a sense of maturity that most people wouldn't have expected in such a tense moment. It wasn't just his words, though Crawford's body language also communicated a level of emotional intelligence that many professional athletes struggle to display in the heat of the moment. Instead of engaging in a confrontation, he chose to move forward, quietly stepping away from the fan and returning to his group of fans who had gathered for autographs. He didn't raise the issue any further or allow the incident to distract him from the purpose of the event. His refusal to escalate the situation left everyone stunned, as the typical reaction in these scenarios might have been to retaliate, exchange words, or even defend one's honor. But Crawford didn't take the bait. For many who had been watching, this calm, controlled response was completely unexpected. Crawford, like many athletes, was known for his passion on the field, and some expected him to stand his ground in a more dramatic way. They thought he might get angry or engage in a verbal confrontation. After all, professional athletes, especially in high-pressure situations, are often expected to display strong reactions, whether positive or negative. Fans, particularly those who are emotionally invested in their teams, often expect their players to defend themselves fiercely when insulted, but Crawford's response was different. In fact, it went against the grain of the typical reaction fans were accustomed to seeing in the world of sports. His restraint and emotional intelligence made a powerful statement. He was bigger than the insult. He didn't need to prove anything by responding to hate with more hate. His refusal to engage in negativity was a demonstration of self-discipline and a reminder of the kind of professional he truly was. It wasn't long before the story of Crawford's response went viral. The video, which had been recorded by fans in the crowd, quickly made its way onto social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Within hours, the footage had been shared by thousands of fans and sports enthusiasts, with many praising Crawford for handling the situation with such grace. The incident became a hot topic in sports media as well, with analysts and commentators discussing the exchange and highlighting how rare it was for an athlete to show such composure when confronted with hostility. The media response was overwhelmingly positive, with many acknowledging the maturity and professionalism Crawford had displayed. Some even went as far as to say his reaction was a lesson in sportsmanship. The story quickly spread beyond sports circles, gaining traction in broader discussions about how public figures should respond to criticism and negativity. People marveled at how Crawford, rather than giving in to anger, had used the moment to demonstrate strength and self-control. It was an inspiring story for many, showing that a cool head and a firm commitment to one's values could have a far greater impact than a fiery confrontation. As the story continued to circulate, the public began to share their own thoughts on Crawford's remarkable ability to handle adversity. What was initially seen as an isolated event became a teaching moment, a story that resonated with fans across the globe. Crawford's reaction wasn't just about sports. It became a symbol of how to respond to negativity in any walk of life. Crawford's response had an immediate and profound impact on everyone who witnessed the incident. Fans who had been watching closely were left in awe of his maturity. Many had expected a more dramatic reaction, especially considering the level of insult he had faced. Instead, Crawford's calm, measured response not only surprised them, but it also earned him respect from all sides. On social media, fans were quick to express their admiration. Comments flooded in praising his emotional control, with many stating that they had gained a new level of respect for him, both as a player and as a person. His reaction was seen as a reflection of the strength and discipline required to be successful, not just in football, but in life itself. For some, Crawford's handling of the situation was a reminder of the power of self-discipline. Many fans shared stories of how they too had been faced with criticism or negativity, and how Crawford's response gave them the inspiration to remain calm in the face of adversity. In a world where quick reactions and outbursts are often glorified, Crawford's ability to stay composed in such a tense moment resonated deeply with many people. His actions served as a model of how to rise above negativity and focus on what truly matters. His maturity had turned what could have been a negative event into a teaching moment for his followers. Teammates, too, were quick to praise Crawford for his actions. The Cowboys' locker room was abuzz with respect for the way their fellow player had handled the situation. They knew Tyrone as a leader, both on and off the field, but this event only reinforced that perception. His response was seen as a perfect example of leadership, knowing when to confront a situation head-on and when to let your actions speak louder than words. Many of his teammates expressed how much they respected his approach, and some even shared that they would have been hard-pressed to remain as composed in his shoes. This moment became a conversation starter within the team, as players reflected on how they could better handle criticism and negativity in their own lives, both in their careers and outside of football. The general public was equally moved by Crawford's response. News outlets, particularly sports media, began to highlight his maturity in their coverage. Journalists and commentators noted how Crawford's calm demeanor was a rare display of professionalism in the world of sports, where athletes are often expected to react with emotion and intensity. One commentator on a popular sports talk show remarked, "Crawford didn't just show restraint, he showed class." In a time when emotions run high, his ability to stay calm was a true testament to his character. This sentiment was echoed by numerous media outlets who took the opportunity to not only praise his actions, but also discuss the larger issue of how public figures should respond to online or public criticism. Crawford's response became a symbol of sportsmanship, highlighting the importance of maintaining composure in the face of adversity. It brought attention to the idea that true strength isn't always about reacting to an insult with aggression, but rather about showing control and rising above the situation. His actions sparked conversations about how athletes and public figures can serve as role models in handling negativity, especially given the rise of social media and online trolling. Rather than adding fuel to the fire, Crawford's response helped shift the narrative, encouraging others to think before they react and to prioritize their values over the opinions of others. In the days following the incident, more positive comments came flooding in from fans and media alike. Many former athletes praised his actions, with several pointing out how this was an example of the kind of leadership needed in sports today. Even some of his rivals shared words of admiration for how he handled the situation, acknowledging that it wasn't always easy to stay composed when insulted. Crawford's grace under pressure wasn't just recognized in his home state of Texas, but it became a story that resonated across the sports world and beyond. He had not only defused a potential conflict, but also sent a powerful message about personal integrity, sportsmanship, and the power of restraint. Tyrone Crawford's reaction to being insulted showed the world a powerful lesson in handling adversity with dignity and composure. Instead of lashing out or engaging in a heated confrontation, Crawford chose to rise above the negativity, demonstrating emotional intelligence and self-control that left a lasting impact on fans, teammates, and the general public. His calm and respectful response to the fans' harsh words not only earned him widespread admiration, but also sparked important conversations about sportsmanship and the value of staying true to one's character even in difficult moments. Now, we want to hear from you. What would you have done in Crawford's shoes? Do you think more athletes should respond this way when faced with criticism? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Craze TV for more incredible stories like this one. Thanks for watching.